This news update is brought to you by
You got an upgrade for Christmas.
If you're feeling lucky, you could win some money.
Upgrade for Christmas.
$200,000 in cash and prizes. With Lime, you could win some money. It's Lime's Christmas Lottery. 250 winners this Christmas, oh yeah.
Sign up or upgrade to super fast broadband, Lime TV, e-billing, a data plan. Top up $15. Purchase a handset or text 4263 to enter.
Upgrade for Christmas.
It's Friday, December the 19th, 2014, and this is the Barbados Today Morning News Update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Government is telling the Judicial Manager of CLICO International Life Insurance that any move to liquidate the embattled company would be premature, unwarranted, and unnecessary. Government's Clear the Air statement yesterday came a day after the Judicial Manager, Deloitte Consulting, announced that it had no choice but to go ahead and wind up CLICO because the promised funding and restructuring by government were not forthcoming. But the Ministry of Finance said the Judicial Manager was fully informed of its plans to restructure CIL. The ministry statement said government remained committed to the court-approved restructuring plan for the insurance company and its associates, adding that a new company has already been established to initiate and manage the government's participation in the implementation of the restructuring plan. In fact, the government said the directors of the new company had their first meeting with the Minister of Finance, Chris Sinclair, and senior officials of his ministry last Thursday. Cabinet is considering numerous proposals for the takeover of Hilton Barbados and the Gems of Barbados hotels, with decisions on the properties likely early in the new year. Minister of Finance, Chris Sinclair, is not disclosing the names of the interested parties just yet, though he did say that the majority were foreign hotel brands. He described two of the offers for the Gems properties and the Hilton as very reasonable and interesting. The government-owned Gems property, which is managed by Hotels and Resorts Limited, went bankrupt after accumulating more than $229 million in debt. The Savannah Hotel has since been leased to the Bernie Weatherhead-led Sun Group. While the Blue Horizon Hotel remains open, the other Gems property, Time Out at the Gap, subsequently closed its doors. Sinclair told Barbados Today there had been a very high level of interest in their properties, particularly within the last 8 months.
We've had both individual offers or offers for individual properties, and we've also had at least one offer for the entire package, the entire package of 3. The board is currently analyzing those offers. We know that, for example, in the case of the Horizon Hotel, a very specific offer has been made. Of course, I can't give the specific details of who's made the offer, but the offer has been made. The offer put on the table is an extremely reasonable offer. In fact, it is a very good offer by all of the reports that I've seen from analysts and so forth and so on. And they're in the process of looking at that. But there are additional offers on the table for that as well. So they're examining all of those offers. There's been some recent interest in the Savannah Hotel, not only by the current lease operators, the Sun Group. They've done an exceedingly good job up there. Of course, it no longer is a burden to the public purse. We don't have to transfer any money to run that hotel. It is being run by a private sector entity with years of experience, and they have said that they are very much interested in looking at taking over the property entirely from government. But there are one or two other interests, major hotel brands, one of which is already here in the island as we speak.
Chief Justice Sir Marston Gibson is warning that justice can't be achieved in Barbados when there are 2,500 cases now before the courts and only 6 High Court judges to adjudicate them. Speaking at a lecture on mediation at the Cayfield campus of the University of the West Indies, Sir Marston said the country needed trained mediators to help deal with the backlog of cases. He also pledged that a mediation program will soon be rolled out with the completion of an annex of the Supreme Court. Leading regional mediation specialist Justice Francis Bell, who delivered the lecture, revealed that this form of dispute resolution is a success in the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, recording a success rate of more than 60% of the cases handled being completely resolved. Leader of the opposition, Mia Mottley, believes that Prime Minister Francis Stewart erred when he referred the dismissal of close to 200 workers at the National Conservation Commission to the Employment Rights Tribunal back in May. In her estimation, the matter was never an issue for the 9-member body, but was always one for the government and the trade unions. She spoke yesterday against the backdrop of the resignation of 8 tribunal members, which has left the workers in a state of despair. Mottley has therefore joined in calls for the immediate reinstatement of the sacked NCC employees, along with workers at the Transport Board, as a matter of urgency. She told reporters yesterday after a media luncheon held at the opposition's office in Parliament Buildings that in the spirit of the season, government should do the right thing and rehire the workers as suggested by the National Union of Public Workers. In sports now, Barbados and West Indies batsman Dwayne Smith has done it yet again. For the second consecutive year, Smith has pulled out of Australia's Big Bash League, citing personal problems. Smith, who only last week announced his retirement from first-class cricket at the age of 31, was the Sydney Sixers' big signing for the summer. The club has managed to secure the last-minute signing of Ricky Wessels, son of former Australia and South Africa captain Kepler Wessels. Smith was signed by Perth Scorchers last season, but failed to make his scheduled flight to Australia for personal reasons. His late withdrawal left the Scorchers with no time to replace him.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Get your sun power.
Welcome back with news from the region that prison officers are threatening to shut down operations at Trinidad's penal institutions. They're dissatisfied with the government's failure to implement additional security measures which were promised after the murder of one of their colleagues last year. President of the Prison Officers Association, Sir Ron Richards, described the proposed action which crippled operations at the prisons for several weeks last year as a last resort by officers to have their concerns addressed. Richards says officers' backs are against the wall and they are not prepared to go on as if it is business as usual when their lives and limbs are threatened. Meanwhile, a murder accused has been beaten and stabbed while in police custody at the Arima Magistrates Court in Trinidad. Asman Alexander's attorney Farid Ali is describing the incident as disturbing and is calling for answers.
So at this stage, his condition is quite serious. When I saw him, he was still bleeding from the nose and had to be using cotton swabs in order to stem the bleeding.
Defense attorney Farid Ali is today describing this situation as disturbing. Ali says his client, Asman Alexander, suffered several injuries just hours after making his court appearance in Arima on Monday.
He indicated to me in laboring tones that he was stabbed in the lower back at the court cells area at Arima. He received several blows to the face, which resulted in a fractured nose, chipped teeth, and there was general swelling based on my observations as to both his eye sockets.
On the global front now, opponents of President Barack Obama's new Cuba policies have threatened to block his efforts to restore diplomatic relations after 50 years of hostility. Florida Senator Marco Rubio promised on CNN to block the nomination of any U.S. ambassador to Cuba. Other anti-Castro legislators suggested Congress would remove funding for any normalized ties with the country. And that's our Barbados Today morning news update. We will be back again this afternoon. Until then, remember to log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper and email updates, or like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Also tune into Channel 101 on Lime TV to get all the latest news and sports. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.
This news update is brought to you by
I won for me to me.
For me?
You don't need speakers, right?
Upgrade to win every week with Lime. Sign up for Lime TV or broadband or purchase an iPhone 6 or Samsung Note 4. Upgrade Christmas with Lime.